The message came on a Tuesday morning. Blessing had just turned off the stove. The akara was done, and the small rented room she shared with 2 other girls in Port Harcourt smelled like hot oil and palm pepper. Her phone buzzed once on the counter. She picked it up the way you pick up a phone when you are not expecting anything important. She read it once, then she read it again. Blessing, I have thought about this carefully, and I believe we want different things now. I think it is best we go our separate ways. I wish you well. 8 years. He had ended 8 years on WhatsApp. Not a phone call, not a visit. 2 sentences and a full stop, and that was what she had been worth to Uche in the end. She sat on the edge of the bed and stayed there until her roommate came out and asked if she was okay. She said yes. She had learnt a long time ago that some pain is too large to explain to someone standing in a doorway. Uche had been her whole plan. They met in secondary school. Him quiet and serious, her loud and warm, and it had worked the way unlikely things sometimes do. When Uche got admission into medical school in Enugu, Blessing screamed with joy in the middle of the street. His dream was her dream. That was how completely she loved him. The plan was simple. She would work, he would study. He would qualify, then it would be her turn. She had her own admission letter, mass communication, at a university in Port Harcourt. She kept it folded inside her Bible, pressed between the pages of Proverbs like something sacred. The right moment never came. She deferred the first year because his school fees arrived and his family was struggling. She deferred again the second year when his clinical costs came higher than expected. By the third year, the admission had lapsed and she had stopped talking about it entirely. She worked 3 jobs. Mornings, braiding hair in a salon off Romola Road. Afternoons, selling recharge cards from a table outside a church. Evenings, doing data entry for a logistics company. Some weeks, she ate once a day so the money could stretch. She sent Uche everything she could spare, and every time he called, his voice made the week worth surviving. Then her mother died. Quietly and too fast, in Blessing's 23rd year. The inheritance was a single plot of land in Port Harcourt that her mother had protected through every hardship of her life. Land she had always called Blessing's foundation, her starting point, the one thing that would still be standing when everything else moved. The letter from Uche's medical school arrived 2 months after the burial. Outstanding fees, suspension threatened. Blessing made her decision the way you make decisions when you have already paid so much that stopping feels more expensive than continuing. She sold the land. She signed the documents and transferred every kobo to Enugu. When Uche called to thank her, he said, "Bless, I will never forget this. You are my person, always." She played that voice note until the phone speaker crackled. Dr. Uche qualified the following November. Blessing was not at the ceremony. Tickets too expensive, he said. Logistics complicated. She bought a small cake from a bakery near her salon and celebrated alone, proud, the way only someone who paid for something with their own suffering can be proud. The changes came quietly after that. Calls grew shorter. His voice took on a new texture, polished, slightly impatient. He began mentioning a colleague named Dr. Simi in stories where her name was not necessary, the way people mention someone when they are slowly getting the world used to the sound. Blessing noticed everything. She filed it all quietly and kept answering when he called and kept believing that everything she had planted would eventually bloom. Then came the Tuesday morning, the akara, the buzzing phone, the 2 sentences that weighed nothing and cost everything. She left Port Harcourt 4 months later with a Ghana must go bag and a recipe, her mother's pepper soup, so precise and so saturated with memory that the first time she made it in Lagos and gave a bowl to her cousin's neighbor, The woman went completely silent. "What did you put in this?" she finally asked. "Everything," Blessing said, and she meant it in more ways than one. She found a kitchen in Yaba she could rent by the hour. She sold from coolers, then from a table, then from a shop front in Lekki Phase 1 that a landlord gave her on a handshake. She worked without pause, reinvested every profit, slept 4 hours on the nights when 4 hours was all she could afford. Word spread the way it always spreads about food made with genuine attention. Corporate clients came, event planners came. A Lagos food blog write-up brought her a catering contract that paid more than 3 months of her Port Harcourt salary combined. She moved out of her cousin's floor, got her own apartment, hired her first staff member, then 3 more, then 7. By 34, Blessing owned a restaurant in Lekki, not a canteen, a proper sit-down restaurant with linen napkins, a Friday night waiting list, and 11 staff who called her Madame with full sincerity. She had also quietly purchased 2 plots of land, one in Lagos, one in Port Harcourt, not far from the one her mother had left her, as if settling a debt with someone who could no longer receive payment any other way. The booking came on a Wednesday. Private dinner, full buyout, 20 guests, an introduction ceremony the following Saturday. The name on the reservation meant nothing to her. She prepared the way she always prepared, completely without shortcuts. The guests arrived in cars that made the street go quiet. The couple entered to applause and the warm glow of people who believe the world is arranged in their favor. The woman on the groom's arm was put together very deliberately. Hair, dress, posture, all speaking the same expensive language. Blessing came out of the kitchen to welcome them. She saw Uche before he saw her. Broader now, a small beard, the easy confidence of a man who had never fought hard for anything he wanted. Laughing at something, completely unaware. Then he turned. Their eyes met. The laughter stopped. His fiancée, Dr. Simi, because of course it was Dr. Simi, looked between them. "Baby, do you know her?" Uche opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Blessing smiled, not a performance, a full, warm, unhurried smile. The smile of a woman standing on her own floor in her own restaurant, hosting his celebration in the house she built with the hands he decided were not worth a phone call. She walked back to her kitchen with the quiet grace of a woman who has already won every argument without raising her voice. Later that night, after the guests had gone and Lagos outside was doing what Lagos does at midnight, Blessing sat alone at a corner table with a small glass of juice and her mother's photograph on her phone screen. She thought about the land, the admission letter pressed in her Bible until the paper went soft, the 3 jobs, the 1 meal a day, the voice note she replayed until the speaker crackled. She thought about a WhatsApp message on a Tuesday morning while akara was frying. Her mother used to say that the ground you stand on is only as powerful as the woman standing on it. She had sold 1 piece of ground to build a man who did not deserve the building, but she had grown herself an entirely different earth, wider, more solid, more completely hers than anything she had ever been handed. She raised her glass quietly in the empty restaurant. To her mother, to the land, to everything it had cost her, and everything it had quietly, stubbornly, beautifully become. Some women are not broken by what they lose. They are simply redirected toward everything they were always meant to build.